So there are musicians out there that just seem to operate at a much higher level. It's almost like they're machines. They nail every gig, their skills are next level, and they stay in demand. And there are certain things that these professional musicians do that you can steal. And I'm going to share the top 5 of them with you in this video. Hey, and welcome to Music Space, where we help working musicians just like you learn how to quickly and easily make a living with your craft. So if you're new here to the channel, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. That way you'll be notified when new videos are uploaded. Now really quick before we get into this video, if you're a musician or an artist looking to make lots of passive income, I am advising all musicians like this to start a YouTube channel today. Right now, YouTube is the biggest opportunity for growth, expansion, and income for musicians and artists. And I've created the YouTube QuickStart course to help you get up and running on YouTube really quickly. And the best part is it's completely free. So definitely hit the link in the description of this video and get instant access to that. Okay, so number one of the things that professional musicians that operate at this higher level do is they practice regularly. Professional musicians have intentional practice time where they set aside time to work on their skills and hone their craft. And they usually do this on a set schedule. So if it's once or twice a week or even a few times a month, they have a schedule in which they work and have intentional practice. And they do this because they understand that this practice time that they've made intentional is really what contributes to their overall expansion and growth as a musician. And along with intentional practice, they also have what I call casual practice. And this is basically practicing your musical skills while doing other things. So it's like singing in the shower, practicing notes in the shower, or even harmonizing with vocal parts that you hear on the radio. And professional drummers do this casual practice by doing things like practicing a drum rhythm to the click of their signal light while at a red light. And another part of this practice that they do is practicing where they're doing something more than just learning songs. And that's what a lot of musicians are doing these days. They're basically just learning songs all of the time because they get sent a set list and they have to do these gigs. So they're in song learning mode versus sort of learning more skills. But these higher level professional musicians take time to do things like go over scales and rudiments and foundational things that contribute to them being able to do things like play songs better. And this is one of the ways that these next level professional musicians are able to stay there and maintain that status. We call them beasts because they practice regularly, they hone their crafts, and they get better and better over time. Now, another thing that professional musicians do is they play multiple instruments. The vast majority of these next level professional musicians that we refer to as beasts are fluid on at least 2 to 3 different instruments. And in a lot of cases, this is not an accident. They learn multiple instruments because they understand that it will help them understand music better. There's an understanding of music and the way that musicians work together when you're able to play multiple instruments and you're able to take the perspective of another instrument, in that position other than your own primary instrument. And even with that, learning another instrument helps you be better at your own primary instrument. So like having a secondary instrument, especially an instrument that's like non-related, as opposed to something like an acoustic guitar and an electric guitar, more something akin to like piano and like a violin or something like that. They're 2 different contrasting instruments. And when you have the perspective of these different instruments, even the more closely related ones, it opens up a world of understanding that you don't have otherwise. When you're a piano player or a keys player and you play drums as well, you have an understanding of rhythm while you're playing piano, so you're helped with your primary instrument. Plus you have the perspective of what the drummer is doing, so you understand, you know how to listen better and all of those things when you're performing together. And this is one of the main reasons why you will find these next level musicians playing multiple instruments. Now, another thing that professional musicians do is they compose music. So just like playing multiple instruments, Composing music opens up a crazy world of new understandings and insights. It helps you understand things like song structure and how to move from one part of the song to another part of the song in a musical way when you're performing. It helps you understand that this is the A part of the song and this is the B part of the song, or the C part of the song, or structures even like verse, chorus, vamp, bridge, and all of those things. And it opens up an understanding of the relationship of all of those terms and how they are connected to one another. But composing music is also something that just keeps the brain focused on music and keeps you in this musical mindset. And that's important because that's what happens with a lot of musicians who don't operate at a higher level. They don't tend to think about music a lot. They don't, do these other things that I'm going to mention in this video either, but they don't tend to have music on their brain, or at least they don't do as much as these higher level professional musicians. But writing and composing music is something that I think every musician should be doing, simply for the sake of self-expression, but also to get a better understanding of music. And this is definitely one of the things that these higher order, next level professional musicians do. Now next, what professional musicians do is they pay attention to detail. And this is something that's really key. Professional musicians pay attention to detail, like when they're learning music. When they're learning music, they don't just number system it where they just learn, the chord progressions here and there and, let it be. No, they go in and learn the exact notes and chord changes and voicings and, notes that are being played or performed on the record. And then they go even further by questioning or asking, or trying to discover the reason why the artist voiced it or performed it this way. So, all of those little things that you tend to hear in music when you've heard it like the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, or 9th time, or even sometimes longer when you've gone back to it, you've been playing it for years and you go back to it and you listen and you're like, oh, I didn't know that was in there. And you discover those things. These are the types of things that professional next level musicians pay attention to up front. But they also pay attention to detail in their playing or singing. They focus on these things that we tend to overlook regularly, like exactly where to hold your finger on a fretboard, on a bass, or on a guitar to get a particular tone out of it, or the most comfortable position to hold their hands in when they're playing piano or keys. Or like something that these next level professional singers do is they focus on things like how to stand, the proper way to stand to get out a particular note that they want to hit, or how their mouths need to be shaped to stay on pitch. And one thing to note about this is that because they pay that much attention to detail, they probably know when you're not performing or playing something correctly too. Now, another thing that professional musicians do, and to me this one is the most important, but they ask for feedback. These musicians that operate at that sort of higher level, they don't just go around thinking that they know everything and that they're all of that. No, they tend to get feedback to help them understand where they are, with their talents, with their gifts, what they need to improve on and things like that. So not only do they evaluate themselves regularly, like objectively evaluate themselves, but they get evaluation and feedback from other people as well. They really want to have some objective feedback and constructive criticism pertaining to everything from their business dealings with others to how they come across on stage. And this is crucially important because a lot of us musicians walk around with these egos and we think we're all of that and that we know everything and all of this kind of stuff. And a lot of times that's not the case. We tend to get our validation from things like the funk face. Like when you're playing and you look over and another musician is doing this. To us, that's the evaluation that we take and, we kind of internalize and think we're the greatest, thing since sliced bread. But the professional musicians aren't afraid to have someone tell them, hey, no, this didn't sound great. You may want to work on that. Actually, they even welcome that because that gives them something to go back home and work on and improve. And this is one of the main ways that they not only stay at this higher level of operation, but they stay consistently growing because they're always looking for areas to improve on. They evaluate themselves and they get feedback from others and they make changes based on it. Now, if you want to operate at this higher level and become a professional musician on this same level, you definitely want to check out these videos now.